This is my 15-minute strategy that has been proven to make $5,250 per month. This is a high win rate strategy that has been perfected over time. I'm not just going to show you step by step on how to use this strategy, but I'm going to show you real results that prove that this strategy works. I will give you an exact checklist of what you need to enter to exit every single trade so that you can take the guesswork out of trading. You don't need crazy amounts of indicators. You don't need 10 years of trading experience. You don't even need to understand multiple time frames. As long as you can follow the exact checklist that I'm going to share with you in this video, you can start profiting from this strategy instantly. With that being said, let's go through this step-by-step guide so that you can master this strategy. This right here is the exact checklist to my rules-based trading system. It's very important that you follow every step closely and that you follow all of the rules in the system. Step 1 is candlestick chart. Head over to the candles tab at the top of your screen. Click this and then make sure that you've selected candles. All of the analysis will be done on standard candlestick charts, and we're not looking at using Fibonacci or any other kind. Step 2, 50, 100, and 200 EMA on chart. Head over to the indicators tab at the top of your screen. And so if you type in EMA 20, 50, 100, and 200, it's this one right here by Dr. Sweets. For me, this has a yellow star next to it, and that's because this is applied in my favorites. So click this indicator and add it to your chart, and then head over to the left of your screen. You have the indicator drop down, and then double click the EMA indicator. So this is the 20, 50, 100, and 200. And because we only use the 50, 100, and 200, you need to then remove the 20. So you can do that by unchecking the 20 EMA. And so I've changed the colors of mine. The 50 EMA is green, the 100 EMA is blue, and the 200 EMA is red. But of course you can change it to whatever colors you like. Step 3, session indicator on chart. Again, head over to the indicators tab at the top of your screen, and it's this indicator right here, trading sessions Sonar Lab. It's by Vutra Trading, and again you can see this is in my favorites, and that's why I have this yellow star right here. So click the indicator, then head over to the indicator drop down in the top left of your screen. Double click the Sonar Lab sessions indicator, and I recommend these sessions right here. Set the time zone to GMT+1. Don't worry, I will help you amend your time zone shortly. Amend the Asia session from 12 o'clock midnight until 5 a.m. Then if you keep scrolling down, the London session between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. And finally, we have the New York session, which is 1 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. Click OK, and you've now set up your session indicator. If you want to change your time zone, you can simply do that by navigating to the bottom right of your screen. And you can amend this to whatever time zone you want. So whether you want New York, London, whatever you want, you can just amend it accordingly here. And so the session indicator will automatically amend. So that's the only 2 indicators that we use for this system. You don't need hundreds of indicators. And so step 4, directional bias. We only take buy positions when the 50 EMA is greater than the 100, which is greater than the 200. So all that I simply mean is, let's say that this is the 50 EMA. Then let's say that this is the 100 EMA and that this is the 200 EMA. Well, because the 50 is greater than the 100, which is greater than the 200, this indicates that we're only looking for buy positions on this market. We only take sell positions when the 50 is less than the 100, which is less than the 200. So let's say that this is the 50 EMA, this is the 100 EMA, and this is the 200 EMA. We would only be looking at taking sell positions on this market. And so our directional bias would be sell bias. And as long as the EMAs are in order, then we have a clear daily directional bias. If they cross over, then we have no bias in the market. So let's say that this is the 50 EMA. Let's say that the 100 crosses, then we would have no directional bias on this market. Don't worry, I'm going to go into a lot of trade examples to explain this even further. So if we are buy bias on this market, and this would be based on the EMAs, then we need to see a raid of sell side liquidity. And this would be either the London or Asia session low. Okay, so we're buy bias on this market right here. And so let's say that this is either the London or Asia session low right here. Then we would need to see a raid of sell side liquidity. And all that simply means is price goes below the London or Asia session low. Then we could look for a potential long position in this market. Vice versa, let's say that we are sell bias on this market. And let's say that this is the Asia or London session high. Then we are looking for a raid of buy side liquidity. So we're looking for price to simply come above the London session high before looking for a sell on this market. So just keep it very, very simple. Price needs to come higher before it can go lower. And this is what we call a liquidity raid. Step 6. Entry. If we're looking for buys in the market and we see a raid of sell side liquidity, then our confirmation is very, very simple. All that we're simply waiting for is a 15-minute bullish candle after we've seen a raid of liquidity. Please note this has to occur during a kill zone. This is very, very important. Our entry and confirmation needs to occur during a kill zone. So this is during the London session, which is between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern, or the New York session, which is 8 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. Eastern. I will not be taking any positions outside of these time windows, and I can't stress enough, this is when the confirmations have to occur. So let's say that we're sell bias on this market. Let's say this is the Asia or London session high right here. We see a raid of liquidity. We then need to see a 15-minute bearish candle close. And again, this needs to occur during one of these kill zones. This is also very, very important. Let's say that this is your 15-minute bullish confirmation. Your buy stop would be placed above this candle high. And then we're looking for price on the next candle to break the candle high, and this would trigger us long in the trade. So we're not taking a trade based on the candle closure, but we're taking a trade based on the break of the bullish candle high. This is also very, very important. Vice versa, let's say that this is a bearish 15-minute confirmation. We would enter on the break of this 15-minute bearish candle low as long as it was between one of these kill zones right here. Step 7, stop loss. If we're looking for buy positions, the stop loss always needs to go at the liquidity sweep low. And for sell positions, the stop loss goes at the liquidity sweep high. And step 8 on the checklist is take profit. We are always targeting a mechanical 1 to 2 risk to reward. So every single trade will have a defined risk, and every single trade we're looking to take a 1 to 2 risk to reward out of the markets. So now let's summarize a long example in the market. Let's say that this is the 50 EMA, this is the 100 EMA, and this is the 200 EMA. Then we would only be looking at taking buy positions in this market. So let's say that we are bullish in this market, and let's say this is the Asia or London session low right here. Then what we're looking for is a raid of sell side liquidity below the London or Asia session low, and then we're waiting for a 15-minute bullish confirmation. We can enter as we break this 15-minute candle high. Stop loss will go at the low of this liquidity sweep, and then we can look at targeting a mechanical 1 to 2 risk to reward. So our trade would look something like this, where we're triggered long right here. Invalidation goes at the low of the liquidity sweep. Give it a little bit of room to breathe, and then we simply target a mechanical 1 to 2 risk to reward. So this right here would be your London or Asia session low, and so we would need to see a raid of that liquidity before looking for a potential long position in the market. Note as well, this confirmation and entry needs to occur during either a London or New York kill zone. And so vice versa, let's say this is the 50 EMA, this is the 100 EMA, and this is the 200 EMA. Well, we would only be looking for sell positions on this market because the 50 is less than the 100, which is less than the 200. And so let's say that this is price action right here. And let's say that this is the Asia or London session high. Then we would be looking for a raid of buy-side liquidity. Then we're looking for a 15-minute bearish confirmation. We can enter as we break this confirmation low right here. And so this would be your entry right here. Invalidation would go at the liquidity sweep high. Make sure to account for a little bit of spreads right here. And then we simply target a mechanical 1 to 2 risk to reward. And so this is our sell model. Another thing to note is, say we are sell bias on this market. The 50 is less than the 100. Which is less than the 200. But then let's say that the 50 crosses over the 100 EMA. Well, this would invalidate our sell bias. And so let's say that this is the market right here. And let's say we've raided buy-side liquidity and we have seen this crossing of the EMAs. Well, then I would not be looking for any positions on this market. And so it's very important to be aware of the third scenario, which would be where we have no directional bias. And so this is the exact checklist that has allowed me to get funded over $800,000. You can literally go ahead and copy this exact checklist, but I can't stress enough how important it is to follow every single rule. Okay, so that's enough of the theory. Now let's look at some live trade examples. So this exact system has the highest win rate on gold and the US 500. It does work well on other indices as well. So for example, you have the German DAX, and in Q1 2025, this exact system has done around 15R just on the German DAX. So it can work across all indices as well. Okay, so now let's look at some live trade examples. We're currently looking at gold on the 15-minute time frame. And as you know, this system operates fully on one single time frame, which is the 15-minute time frame. So first we need to understand what is our directional bias. And so at the exact time of confirmation right here, you can see that the 50 EMA is greater than the 100, which is greater than the 200. So if this is your 50, this is your 100, and this is your 200. And granted, there's not a huge distance between the 50 and the 100, but this still is valid nevertheless. We've seen a raid of sell-side liquidity below the London session low, and then we got a 15-minute bullish confirmation. So just to remind you, we have the London session, which is 3 a.m. until 5 a.m. Eastern, and we have the New York session, which is 8 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. So we enter as we break the 15-minute bullish candle high, invalidation at the low of the liquidity sweep, and then we're simply targeting a 1 to 2 risk to reward. So I will be honest, this isn't the cleanest looking setup, but it's still a valid A+ setup nevertheless. And so once you are triggered long in these trades right here, it's either stop loss is hit or take profit is hit. There's no micromanaging, and this system adopts more of a set and forget style. Now let's look at another trade example. Directional bias is long bias on this mark because the 50 EMA is greater than the 100, which is greater than the 200. So this indicates long bias. We've seen a raid of sell side liquidity below the Asia session low. This is your raid of liquidity right here. We then got a 15-minute bullish confirmation during the London kill zone. We then enter on the break of this 15-minute candle high. Invalidation goes just at the liquidity sweep low. And again, we target a mechanical 1 to 2. So this trade was triggered in at 3:15 a.m. Eastern, and it would have been held until 12 p.m. Eastern. Again, once you're triggered long in this trade, there's no micromanaging on these positions. Let's look at another trade example. Directional bias is sell bias on this market. The 50 EMA is less than the 100, which is less than the 200. We've seen a raid of buy-side liquidity, and this was above the London session high. We then got a 15-minute bearish confirmation, and this was at 8:15 a.m. Eastern. We can enter on the break of this candle low, invalidation at the liquidity sweep high, simply target a 1 to 2. So this is a short example on the US 500. And so this is a short example on the US 500 on the 15-minute time frame. Let's look at another example. Again, this is the US 500 on the 15-minute time frame. The 50 EMA is greater than the 100, which is greater than the 200. So this indicates long daily directional bias. We've seen a raid of sell-side liquidity below the London session low. This occurred during a New York kill zone, but remember the liquidity sweep can still occur before the session. We then got a 15-minute bullish confirmation right here. Entry was on the break of this high, invalidation at the low of the liquidity sweep, and then simply target a 1 to 2. And funny enough, this trade was actually taken on a bank holiday. And it's funny because I remember taking this exact trade, and this trade was taken on a US bank holiday, and it still ended up working out. And so this system has allowed me to get funded over $800,000. And this is the proven system that makes on average $5,000 per month. So in front of you right here is my exact back test from 2024, trading this exact system. And what you can see is the percentage gain was 30% and the strike rate was just under 50%. So this right here is a proven system that makes on average $5,000 per month. And let me just break down how that is the case. So this right here is my gold 2024 backtesting data. And across the year using 1% risk, this returned 31% on gold with a strike rate of just under 50%. You can see that some months were pretty good, some months were okay, and some months were slight losing months. But I'm here to tell you that this is the reality of trading. Also looking at the US 500 2024 data, you can see we actually got pretty similar results. So it returned around 30% in 2024 with again a strike rate of just under 50%. And so that is a combined return of over 60%, trading just gold and the US 500 in 2024. So let's say that you're trading a 100K funded account, which is very, very reasonable for most people. And let's say that you're using 1% risk. Then this system would have returned over $60,000 in 2024. So that averages at around $5,000 per month. Yes, some months will be more, some months also may be less, but on average, this system returns around $5,000 per month, trading a 100K account, which is very reasonable for most people. And so if you want to see me trade this live every single day in the markets, and you want to learn the exact blueprint to this fully rules-based mechanical system, where I've put together over 40 plus educational videos, and you want to join my inner circle of traders, then make sure to check out my exclusive community or one-on-one mentorship. The link is in the description down below. As always, thanks so much for your time and support, and you take care, guys. Bye-bye.